Welcome to the Driven to Succeed Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Olson, and today I have returning guests Dan Kallas, Erik Holm. This time, both of you together, owners of the Right Thing team here today. We're going to talk a little bit about 2026 market and then your team and growing your team.
All right.
So, welcome back, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, let's talk about that. I was just reading some statistics here, and this kind of shocked me a little bit. It just showed that December 2025 statistics, this is off of Redfin, that home prices in December were up 9.2% over last year, and median price 350, which makes sense. 42 days on market compared to 37, so we have a little bit extra, some extra days, which in my opinion really helps buyers. It's done a lot for that.
Mm-hmm.
So what now that we're in 2026, you guys are on the front lines. You're seeing the leads coming in. You're seeing your team getting busy. In January already, what are your guys' predictions? Like, what are your feelings right at the moment?
You can go first if you want.
I'm super optimistic for 2026. Every year, and it's like this every year, between Thanksgiving and Christmas just feels slow. But this year it felt a little bit busier. And as soon as New Year's Eve happened, it's almost like a switch got flipped. We get copied on showings and things like that for a lot of the agents, and we just see it in our email. Turn agreement signed, turn agreement signed, turn agreement signed. It's kind of cool. Or all the commission requests coming in from the team. It's definitely, I'm very optimistic about how this year is going to turn out versus last year. I know a lot of the agents on the team finished way up over 2024 already in a down market. I personally was 35% better this last year close-wise than the year before, which was surprising to me. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I'm seeing the same things. It's funny, I was actually a part of a couple of multiple offer situations over the Christmas holiday.
Right.
Because the market is waking up. And some of these homes, is a million plus in Isanti with some acreage. And it sat, I think, on the market for 70 plus days, maybe 100.
Yeah.
And suddenly they were in multiple offers. And we were trying to get in, and they're like, sorry, we have all the offers we need. And just like that. And it was a great conversation with a very experienced listing agent.
Sure.
And they're just coming out of the woodwork. So I'm very optimistic for this year.
Well, and the trajectory of the interest rates, I believe, is really helping out here.
Yeah. And I think all last year, I don't know how many times I've said it to other people and on this podcast, is like, if we see rates, the second we see rates in the fives, applications go up. Right?
Absolutely.
So we saw it briefly last week, literally on Friday or the week before. On Friday, I think it was like the 9th or whatever it was, 8th, 9th. On Friday, the rate hit 5.99, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that weekend, applications, calls, and on the finance end, hey, is it time to refi? It's time to refi.
Yeah, you felt the switch get flipped as well.
Yep. So, and I've felt over the Christmas break, it always gets quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it was whatever, but I was busy. And like other people that I knew, I'm like, hey, what do you got going on? And it's busy. So, we've seen the last 3 years of what high interest rates have done to the market, decimated it, and what people were waiting for. And that five number is a big number psychologically.
Mm-hmm.
It's really huge. And then, from the mortgage standpoint, anybody out there, if you got a low interest rate or if you bought in the last couple of years and you had that 7+ interest rate, it's right now is the time to refi. I do think we're going to press a little bit lower this year. How low it goes, that's anybody's guess. There's lots of different talk on who the Fed chair is going to be, and they only have so much influence over the rest of the Feds. Of the Fed, the 19 members too.
Mm-hmm.
But I think overall, I think we're going to see, I think this year we're going to see, a quarter to a half lower than we're at now. I don't think we're going to go a whole lot below that. So anybody waiting for like a 4% rate, I just don't think that's going to happen. Could it happen the next couple of years? Yeah. but I personally don't think that's going to happen this year based on a lot of different, things that I've been around and the people that, some of the shows that I've been, the people that are putting on like the Dave Ramseys of the world, the Dave Savages of the world, Barry Habibs, and then looking at the overall market. But regardless, this is where we're at. And I think it's just going to, after the Super Bowl, predominantly gets super busy.
Every year.
Yep.
Every year.
And right now, I think most of my clients are getting seller paid closing costs for buyers. And so it's been good. So I think we have a pretty good trajectory. With that being said, let's talk about your team. Like, since I joined, you guys had, you increased that by about at least 20%, if not 30%. And now you're looking at doubling it this year, hopefully.
Yeah. One thing that we've done, we got really serious about growing the team right as rates went through the roof.
Yeah.
And we've just been consistent in delivering appointments for our agents. And that's brought us from, the 3 agents that we started with then to, where we're sitting now. And it's been really good. I do expect that we'll continue to grow.
Well, that's good. And why do you think you grow so well? I have an idea. And
can I say something to this?
Yeah, go for it.
So what we've ran into historically is the agents simply don't believe us when we tell them that we have more appointments than our agents can currently handle. Not leads, not some cold calling thing. It's physical appointments with buyers and sellers. And that's really the driving factor. That's what every agent wants. And that's what we deliver to them. If a physical showing with a buyer that wants to get pre-approved, or a seller that would like to know how much their home is worth and they'd like to sell. We tell agents that, and we have a lot of agents that we've talked to a year ago that now you're re-interviewing.
Yep.
Because now they're getting feedback from other agents. I mean, we literally have some agents on the team, several actually, that have been taking leads for a couple of months, coming off of the slow time of the year, and they currently have 5 or 6 closes scheduled to close. Yep. I mean, my son's a great example. He has more closes scheduled right now than he closed last year. And that's because he decided to go into real estate full time and take it very serious. And now, that's happening. And that's a great, I'm really happy for these guys and girls that they are going into 2026. They're taking their career seriously, and they have a bunch of closes locked down. But I really think that's been a big portion of our success with the team. Would you agree? Just because we hand off appointments, not just leads. Like I'm not going to say the brokerage I first started in, but it definitely wasn't the one I'm in now. And you'd be cold calling these dead leads that my team's already closed with.
Right.
It's like and that's not what we want. We don't want to send our agents out door knocking to strangers. I mean, especially in today's climate. I mean,
right.
Yeah. Your son is a great example, but we have multiple agents on the team that maybe were, even thinking about getting out of real estate, that wanted to try to stay in the field, but it's tough in this market, or has been. And I got a gal on the team that's, I was like, hey, this is kind of November, December-ish. Hey, how's it going for you? I think you're busy. She's like, I'm so busy. She's like, I have three closes scheduled in December. And this is like a 20-year agent. She's like, I've never had 3 closes scheduled in December.
Yeah.
So we're in a really tough market. This lady's seeing a huge boost in her business. And it's just a really good feeling. We've got another guy that just came to the team a few months ago, also kind of on the verge of, is this the right thing for me? He's got 5 to 6 closes pending right now in January.
That's amazing.
There's more than enough opportunity for anybody that does the work.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's what, looking at, a lot of agents out there that were on their own, just working for a brokerage, right?
Yep.
And then obviously a lot of them dropped off, but now you're able to, I don't know if you want to call it resurrect their career, but you can keep, like, hey, if joining a team, and that's where the team model has been such a big improvement
Mhm.
over the last couple of years. And of course, got
Was this
this
amateur
going
hour?
on, right? I am on sleep mode, but that apparently didn't work today. Long story short,
Yep.
I mean, watching, because as a lender,
Yep.
I see a lot of one-offs, people working for themselves, and I'll call them now, and they're like, oh, I'm just not busy, right? And like, they're like, hey, I think, do you want to be busy? Do you want to join a team? And so forth. And they have their own premonition of why they don't want to be on a team, and so forth. So why I'm bringing this up is that you guys have really created kind of a culture and an atmosphere here for your team members, right?
Mhm.
And whether it's from how you deal with them from the team aspect, do you want to enhance or expand on that a little bit?
Yeah. Do you mind if I run?
Go ahead.
All right. So we created this team different than a traditional team on purpose.
Mhm.
And one of the areas that we find a lot of success with agents is the agents that have traditionally been solo looking for opportunities. And they find a lot of success with us because of a few things that we do differently. But we'll get to that. The culture piece that you just mentioned is that we're a culture of plenty. It's a mindset of plenty. We have never grown the team to the detriment of the people that have already been with us. There has always been more business. Good business begets more good business. And that's the model that we grow with. And the agents that are with us have just continued to grow along with that. So we do have a really positive atmosphere on the team. We share our wins, everybody's happy, and nobody's jealous or any of that drama nonsense because it doesn't have to exist. Again, you can go meet somebody and build your book of business and become more successful, or you can sit back and not take the appointment and continue to sit right where you are. I mean, it's up to the agent, and
Right.
that's what makes us different. Erik, I'll let you have a little time if you want to talk about just that
We're just making money, having fun as a team.
Yeah.
I mean, culturally, we're still in production.
Yes.
We like to lead by example. And we don't have a lot of overhead. We don't run brick and mortar. We're a virtual team. We don't have a huge staff, and all those savings, right? And those savings we pass on to the agents, right? We don't force you to use a TC if you don't want to, but you're making enough money out of your commissions where if you want to run, we allow the agents to run their own business. So if they want to have a TC, they can hire one. We have a lot of benefits with the team because we do run so lean, mostly the commission splits. I don't know every team's commission split here in the Twin Cities or Wisconsin, but what the agents have been telling us is there's not a better split out there.
Yeah. And that's really fantastic to hear because that's where, I've seen some of the commission splits that come across from some of the bigger teams, right? And I'm like, wow, but then that's why, you can see where the savings are, right?
Mhm.
You can see how you guys are able to, again, be the plentiful.
Well,
Like,
we're built on growth. Okay.
Mhm.
So like as the agents close on all these appointments and develop a bigger and bigger client base, they're gonna start growing their own sphere, which is exactly what we want. We want them to grow as agents and individuals. So Dan and I were talking about end game growth for agents, and so we ended up actually this week we just announced that we have a cap on sphere splits each fiscal year because we never want to punish an agent for being successful on their own.
Right.
We always want them to take more from the team than we take.
Yep.
And so as these agents become super agents, there will be no reason for them to leave.
Right.
Because they're always going to be making more money by being part of a team versus lose money from the deals that they create.
And actually, to build on that, one of the things that we did with this team to be different is that we truly partner with the agents that we're currently with, and it is a value added proposition. I know that if Erik and I don't wake up every day and try to add more value to our agents' lives than they could ever possibly give back to the team, it's not a win-win deal.
Right.
That's the only way this works, is we continue to help them grow through something that we haven't touched on, what we call income producing activities.
Mm-hmm.
Our team doesn't do any cold calls. We don't do any, mass canvassing or anything that doesn't have a direct result of them making money. If it's busy work, I'm not doing it. I'm not asking somebody to do it.
Right. And I love the model that, in the past, like 10 years ago, even, a typical team model is you would bring newer agents in, they'd learn the business, and then they'd learn that I can just go on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And instead of now you're bringing in maybe even more experience and new agents. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But you provided such an atmosphere that there isn't the reason to leave, right? Because you're not taking the vast majority of their commission.
The entire reason we built this team was to make it sustainable for the agents so they could make a lot of money. We were on some teams previously that we're not going to talk in great detail about, right?
Yep.
But they're teams that only took, they didn't give.
Right.
And we really, really, as we develop this team, we want to be a team that gives, not takes. And that's been our motto the entire time. And that's why our team's growing exponentially. That's why we're projected to have the team size double this year.
Yeah. And that's amazing. I love what you guys are doing. I mean, it's I love working with your team. Everybody that I've worked with have always been, very good across the board, right? From response and, that's, from getting things done and being able to, sometimes we have to work together as kind of coachable, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, hey, we need this or that. And, or I need help with this client because this client's not answering the phone. Like, what's going on?
Yep.
Long story short, it's been great working with that. And again, seeing that culture has been awesome. What do you think like top agents ask before they join? Like, what are some of the questions that they ask? Like
they don't believe our answers.
Yeah.
A lot of the time. I mean, that's a fact, especially when it comes to like how many appointments and such. What do you run into in your interviews, Dan?
A lot of people are very curious about the splits right away because, hey, it's not just for the stories we can tell. We don't go beat random people from the internet
Right.
just for the stories. We are running a business.
Yep.
And we do have some very, very aggressive splits towards the agents like we were talking about. So that's probably the number one, followed by what do we do to grow their business?
Right.
And it's the appointments. And yeah, it can sound too good to be true sometimes. And that's where we have some agents that, I've one guy on the team, met with him, interviewed, and we were a younger team. I never want to set false expectations. I believe that everything is expectations, whether it's with a client at the house and setting expectations on how the deal will work for them or not work for them, or with an agent on what we can do to help grow their business. So it was a different team then. He went and tried a different team. Talked to him again. He went and tried a different team. Talked to him 2 weeks later. And I got that text message as, hey, Dan, you got time to call or time to talk in about 15 minutes? I was like, all right. Sounds like he's willing to give us a try. And he's been with us well over a year now. Mm-hmm. And he's one of our top producing agents. But in that time we were growing too. I don't want to knock other teams. I think just because our team is a good fit for the agents that we do have, it doesn't mean that it's a good fit for everybody. I don't expect to be the one size fits all team. I believe we add a lot of value, but then it's just a conversation. And if we can't set reasonable expectations with that agent and it's not a good fit for them, then cool. We do business across the table and we get to know each other a little bit better. It's not a bad thing.
Right. Well, and sometimes we don't bring every agent on that we interview either. No. Sometimes we just determine it's not going to be a good fit for the team, for whatever reason.
Yeah, it does happen. Not a ton. We're willing to give most people a shot, to turn on the leads and see what they can do and coach and that type of thing. But yeah, sometimes it's just clearly not going to be a good fit.
Right. Right. Not everybody is. I've learned the hard way.
Yep. Doesn't mean they're bad people or bad agents. Just might not jive with the team.
Right.
Mhm.
How have you, okay, so in the slowest market, like obviously we just talked about this, but we've seen more uptick on social media and in marketing and so forth, and like the sphere deals are coming, through as well. Um, how does the team help agents stay active when leads slow down outside of that? Is there any?
Well, mind if I talk about that, or do you want to?
I was gonna say,
Go ahead. You go
I
first
was
for a
just
second.
my answer is really simple. We haven't slowed down.
Right.
We just provide more
Yeah.
opportunities. So
Yeah.
you take the floor.
Well, I was gonna say, like, our lead volume from November of this year to December of this year increased by 30%. Okay. Our lead volume from the first of 2025 to November had doubled. So we had another 30% of lead volume. It's not leads, it's appointment volume from November to December. So it's a huge increase. So yeah, we didn't slow down at all.
Right.
And a lot of that just has, and our lead sources are some are proprietary, some are very open to talk about,
Mm-hmm.
but we have different splits for all these things. And it's almost always, in fact, it is always in the agent's favor, compared to what I've been seeing with other teams. But, and another thing that we do that we don't talk about that much is we are constantly trying new things and reinvesting in the team. As you know,
Right.
they all don't work.
Well, right.
But we are trying new and different things, and we like to be involved in things that not everybody's doing.
Right.
Right. And we're very appointment focused. I never want to get a bunch of bad leads
Right.
for the agents to go through.
Right.
Right.
I think that just contributes to agent burnout.
Yeah.
That's why we don't cold call.
Right.
Because we're not a meat factory.
Right. Right.
It's not a grinder here.
And I'm not going to say we create lazy agents, but being on the team is somewhat the easy button, because their phone will ring, maybe in the middle of a blizzard, it might ring once.
Yeah.
But on a normal day, they're getting 3 to 6 appointments sent out to them daily.
That's amazing. I mean,
It's not. It's an appointment. It's not just a
Yeah.
name and a number. It's somebody
Right.
that wants to see a house.
Right. And that's where the really meat on the bone it comes in, right? I mean, it's what you're saying is appointments. It's not just leads, right?
Mhm.
And I've seen so many where it's just leads. That's it, right?
So we have a group chat that all the agents are connected, and I love seeing when an experienced agent absolutely gets their doors blown off by the amount of volume coming in.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, all of a sudden you see in capital letters OMG,
Right,
and then da 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 d. I can't believe how busy I am.
Yeah.
I've never been this busy before. It happens pretty consistently.
Mhm.
Now we have some other agents that came from some pretty high-end teams, and they're really kind of geared to what we do. We're not the only team in Minnesota that does this,
Right.
but we are one of the few.
That's awesome. What do you want to talk about any of your technology used, like Follow Up Boss or
Sure.
CRM technology?
So yeah, we do use Follow Up Boss for CRM. We've used almost every CRM under the sun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At some point.
But what's nice with Follow Up Boss, and we always try to have good AI, right? Most of our responses are tied with AI.
Mhm.
So on a lot of our follow up, so to speak, AI, it's AI driven. So,
Right.
and it's unless you're right in front of it, it's kind of hard to explain. But the AI does make the agent's job with follow up of leads much easier, so they can focus on showing homes.
Right. Well, that's the biggest problem when you do get busy is, right? So like the leads are coming in. I mean, the response rate has to come in fast, right? So, and if you're out showing a house, you can't respond, right? Or somebody else picking it up, right? Or whatever. By the time you do respond, it's gone,
Mhm.
right? So being able to have that quick response, that's immediately right there, and now you're seeing what's happening. So when you get a second, now you can chime in or whatever.
Mhm.
And then beyond that is where that follow up comes in,
Mhm.
right? Because, let's face it, people get busy. And this is why you always continuously would go through these ups and downs,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So instead of, we got 5 closings this month, we got, 2 months from now, we got no closings,
Yeah.
right? Because I was too busy with those.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So do you guys have, any other training that you'd go through or, like,
We have a ton of training.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's videos. We hold classrooms in person. There's in each platform that we're on has their own training.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll let you talk here after I say this.
No, you're good, man.
The agents training that is the absolute best that differentiates us against a ton of other teams and realtors is they go on more showings than anybody. I mean, if you're showing, 4 to 5 times the amount of homes that other realtors are, you're gonna get pretty good pretty fast at what to look for, what to identify, market trends, how to write purchase agreements, just because you're doing it in volume.
Right.
There's a lot different deal going on when you're writing 2 or 3 purchase agreements in a weekend versus maybe one every couple of months.
Right.
You're just simply gonna be better at it.
Yep.
And then as you go on these showings and these listing appointments, then you're going to have the phone call like, hey, I just dropped the ball. I didn't do this right. And that's, and I'll just respond like, hey, let's learn from your mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the best training there is just getting out there and doing it.
And then also with the training, it's the KISS method. Keep it stupid simple.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we do with the team. We're not out here recreating the wheel. We're giving those opportunities, giving them an opportunity to practice, build their book of business, and then we can get into all the other wonderful technical tools that we have. Income first.
Mm-hmm.
Lead with revenue, not expenses. So we can get the team up and running, and then they get their closes, and then we can go into the nitty gritty, all the detailed technology stuff that we have that will help them keep in front of their past clients and streamline some of that. But first, it's make money.
Well, and we have these lead sources that when Dan's in charge of all the onboarding, when he brings them on, we don't even turn them all on because it's like drinking from a fire hose when you first come over. So we'll get you set up so your phones ring in, you're getting appointments instantly, but then we have other things that we slowly kind of turn on as it goes, so you're not just completely overwhelmed because it's a pretty high-paced environment. Like previously, we come from the restaurant business. Another thing that differentiates us is I was an executive chef, Dan was the front of the house, and we're just work at a little bit different speed.
Right.
And so everybody else says, "Oh, I'm just slammed." I'm like, "Oh, this is busy."
Right. There's a whole different. I've been in that business, so I get. I totally understand that pace, in action. And some of the best what you're telling me, and this is what I want our audience to understand. If you're a real estate agent and so forth, that where you guys' focus is really at is just complete support of the agent, right?
Absolutely.
And from splits and comps, I mean, that's number one. What makes, I've always felt, because I'm this way,
Money
drives.
Yep,
Money drives. That drives, the more you start becoming busy and making more money, and the happier you seem to be in that position, in that job, and you can drive your business, right?
Mhm.
And that's why I'm really excited about 2026 for everybody in this market. I'm excited for people that are out there. I know people that are still struggling. Oh man, it's slow. On other teams, I've seen that.
Yep.
Like, hey, how's your business? It's slow. It's slow. And
Mhm.
what you guys have created is entirely different atmosphere than what I'm seeing on other teams, right?
Mhm.
So that's what I love. I really look forward to seeing you guys' success and seeing you double your team size this year. Is there anything else you want to put out there? Because what I'm going to put next is just like how to get a hold of you guys and so forth.
I'll circle back to one of the first questions about the team culture too. You mentioned the team name, Right Thing Team.
Right.
Erik and I came up with that because quite honestly, naming a team is hard. You don't know what to call yourselves.
I didn't
But-
like the name of the team for the
Yeah.
longest time.
No, he
It-
didn't.
it- well,
he
it-
really didn't. But we
it-
had to change it.
I was advertising or advocating for the home team
Yep.
because my last name is Holm, Holm. And
Yep.
he didn't like that, of
Yeah,
course.
well, there was a broker out in the Annandale area that has that LLC,
Yeah.
so
Oh, yeah.
we couldn't do it. But at the end of the day, Eric and I are pretty similar people, and we were raised right. We were blessed with wonderful parents. The value of you do the right thing because it's the right thing to do.
Yep.
So
And that applies to real estate perfectly.
it does.
It really does in almost any situation
Yep.
that you can think of. If you're advocating for your clients, just do the right thing.
We do
Right.
service-led sales. We don't do any pitches or anything like that. Service-led sales. Same thing with our agents. If we're all doing the right thing by each other, like I said earlier, good business begets more good business.
100%.
And I think that's really the key to the culture of the team and how special it is because we have that first and foremost. And the good news for us is real estate agents in general are in this industry because they like helping people. So it's not a crazy value to have,
Right.
but it does give some really nice common ground right out of the gate.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great answer.
Yep.
Nice work. I mean, it's again, it's just I've seen so much over the last 6 months or 3 years, I should say, and just the people's psyche in this industry. You guys are always just upbeat and happy.
Mhm.
Agents are. You guys have been great. So with that being said, like, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Shoot me a text, a call, 612-964-2151. I'm kind of your point guy. I handle most of those conversations right out of the gate. Eric, of course, is open for questions as well. It's just kind of how we divide and conquer the roles.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you hear that, guys. Dan Kallas,
Yeah.
Erik Holm. If you're looking for, opportunities going forward this year, I think it would be great to talk to you guys, and let's double your team size and get you going. Everyone like and subscribe, please. If you have any questions, please reach out at any time. Thanks again.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. It was fun.